Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Drive Time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle. Once again, it is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on incredible radio stations like Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, heard around the world on the iHeart Radio application. Download today. It is free. Again, thank you for being a part of this program. Clemson Tigers over the weekend take care of business against the Furman Paladins. It wasn't beautiful. 35-12, the final score. But we'll hear some from Dabo Swinney coming up in just a few minutes. But you are not Notre Dame on this Monday morning. You are not Texas A&M on this Monday afternoon, I guess, technically. I don't know why I said morning. I guess the fact that yesterday morning, Nebraska fired Scott Frost because they lost to Georgia Southern, the Sun Belt, if you will. More like the Fun Belt this weekend. Marshall over number 8 Notre Dame. Chase Bryce, App State over Texas A&M. And, I listened to the LuchaCast from Billy Lucci over at TexAgs after the game. And, boy, he was not happy. And you know what? I'm going to be honest here. I have cousins that graduated from Texas A&M. I rooted for Texas A&M when I was growing up, when Clemson wasn't playing or kind of as that secondary level team. There's a kinsmanship, a camaraderie between these two schools. But let me tell you, from the second they hired Jimbo Fisher, let me tell you how I felt about Texas A&M. Thumbs down. Not great. Not good. I don't like Jimbo. I didn't like what he stood for and the way he handled things at Florida State. And I got to tell you, in the world of college football, for me, a loss to App State like that and being one of the top 6 teams in the country, as A&M was, heading into the weekend, couldn't happen to a better guy. Could not happen to a better guy. So, you know what? Texas A&M, I know that Jimbo Fisher is a better coach than Kevin Sumlin, but numbers-wise, during his time at Texas A&M, is he? I'll hang up and listen. 17-14, the final score. Chase Bryce and App State. You have to feel good for Chase Bryce if you are a Clemson Tiger fan. I mean, his career, he leaves Clemson, goes to Duke, doesn't exactly work out there, ends up at App State, has the extra year because of COVID-19. Just to go into Kyle Field after the heartbreaking defeat a week ago at Boone, 63-61, they were defeated by North Carolina. And then they go into College Station and win 17-14. And by the way, Aggie fans, you've got Miami coming up this week. And I know, look, I get it. They're from the lowly ACC, and you'll probably take care of business. Sure, good luck with that. But I'm going to tell you this. Offensively, Texas A&M looks horrible. Horrible. And I don't know at this point, for a team who had aspirations of the college football playoff, if you don't hurry up and get something right on the offensive side of the ball, forget about the defense. If we just talk about the offensive side of the ball with the inexplicable loss that they had to App State. Let's take a look at their schedule upcoming. You're not going to beat Miami if the offensive effort you get this Saturday is the same that you've gotten the past 2 Saturdays against Sam Houston and App State. You will not beat Miami. You will not beat Arkansas. Maybe you could beat Mississippi State. You won't beat Alabama. I think you'll beat South Carolina. I don't think you'd beat Ole Miss. I'm not sure you'd beat Florida. Not sure you'd beat Auburn. You'd beat UMass, and I'm not sure you'd beat LSU. You could be eyeballing 8, 9 losses, Aggies, if the offense doesn't get going. Speaking of losses, the South Carolina Gamecocks this weekend lost to Arkansas. As I projected, I said 34-24. The South Carolina Gamecocks instead go out to Fayetteville, and for a little while, I thought I was going to be right on it. 44-30, the final score there. South Carolina drops to 1-1 on the season. The Gamecocks will take on Georgia, who in the AP poll vaulted past Alabama. Georgia now the number 1 in the AP poll after Alabama's nail-biting victory, 20-19 at Texas. Now, there was a play in that game, and I love Mondays. There's just so much. It's like I've got this blob of topics and things to talk to you about, and I could just cipher through it at whatever pace I want. 20-19, the final score there is the Alabama Crimson Tide get a late field goal to win that game on the road in Austin. And I will say, it would have been just incredible had Texas found a way to win that game, because Texas's kicker, who gave them the 19-17 leads, last name was Auburn. And Gus Johnson on the call on Saturday had a line to effect of Auburn beats Alabama or what, and I know I don't think he said beats, obviously too early for that, but Auburn gets the best of Alabama or something to that effect. But man, a couple of things. I know there was the controversial safety play in that game. And if you haven't seen it, essentially, Alabama's backed up deep in their own territory. I don't remember the score when that happened. I'll see if I can find it here for you. But the situation that played out, to me, I'm glad the officials kind of got it right. The score was 10-10 with 9 minutes and 59 seconds left in the third quarter. Bryce Young takes the snap about a yard deep in his own end zone. Lots of pressure. He rolls to his right. He gets tackled. He's in the grasp. Then he manages to stay up on a player and not touching down yet, throws the ball. They ruled at the time a late hit and a targeting call. They did eventually get that aspect of it right. But here was my issue with this whole play. To me, I don't understand why this isn't adjudicated as a player being in the grasp, and why Bryce Young was not ruled down in that moment. If that happens at midfield, okay, if that happens at midfield, I don't know that there's any debate that the referees are probably blowing that play dead before he throws the ball. And quite frankly, I was shocked that play went the way it did. It didn't directly affect the end result of the game. What did that was a missed chip shot field goal at the end of the first half for Texas, a 20-yard field goal attempt missed to the left that would have been a potential game winner later in the game, obviously. And then there was also a face mask call that was not made that I believe would have given Texas a first down on a key drive in that ball game, where they probably would have scored a touchdown instead of having to settle for that field goal with Auburn. I believe that was on that same drive. But, I mean, I get it. Look, if you're a Texas fan today, you feel positive about Steve Sarkisian. Sark said after the game, look, we didn't lose. We just ran out of time. I mean, I tend to agree. I thought, and this was all without Quinn Ewers. Ewers got hurt fairly early in the ball game, right at the end of the first quarter. And, he kind of reminded me of a Johnny Manziel. I mean, he just kind of seemed like a gunslinger that didn't have a real care in the world. It was going to make some throws that maybe you might think to yourself, no, don't throw it. But then it gets completed. You're like, oh yeah, good throw. Way to go. Nice play there. But yeah, it was a wild weekend in college football. I mentioned the polls earlier. We will get to the polls in just a little bit. We'll also hear from Dabo Swinney following Clemson's victory, 35-12 over Furman. It was a bit of an emotional day in Tiger Town as Ella Brazee, Brian Brazee's 15-year-old sister, who is battling cancer, met with the team on Wednesday. Clemson allowed Swinney allowed Brian Brazee to lead the Tiger Walk. Every player wearing an Ella Strong t-shirt with the L's in Ella being the number 11 of Brian Brazee. We find out after the game that Ella had a bit of a setback, had to be airlifted back home to Washington, D.C. with her mother, and that Brian's family, his father and sisters, also made their way back home. Brian is also going to be away from the program for a couple of days. He's going to be going up to D.C. to be with his family as well, as his sister had a bit of a setback. And, I think, obviously we put out a tweet at one point that said, hey, I think these shirts need to be for sale. And Brian Brazee needs to be able to benefit from it through NIL or whatever, and make sure that his sister, can get some help there. And I know there are thousands of people out there that could use benefits from t-shirt sales and whatever, could help people out. And so I first want to recognize that is a fact for some of you, maybe even listening to this show. The thing about Brian's opportunity in this platform is that I just hope that they can figure it out, just like I would for anybody, and that, NIL and the fact that there's a Clemson paw on the shirt doesn't affect the ability for them to, utilize it in some regard. Now, they could certainly put one out that said Ella Strong without a paw for the O and make it a regular O. And I think that would be perfectly fine via NIL rules. But, man, it just feels like sometimes, and I'll credit the NCAA for this, they haven't always gotten a lot of things right, fair to say. Most of the time, they've gotten a lot of stuff wrong, in my opinion. But I believe that if the NCAA looks at this and recognizes what it's about, then I think you could turn an eye to the Tiger Paw logo being there. We'll hear from Dabo Swinney in the upcoming segment. Also, we'll take a look at the polls as well. But Dabo Swinney, following the game, said, look, we'll get better. And they still need to. They had their moments, but they're 2-0. You got Louisiana Tech coming to town this weekend. And there's no doubt that this team has not played their best ball. But Dabo Swinney doesn't need them or want them to play their best ball at this point. This is, as Dabo Swinney said, this is the end of the first quarter coming up in this ball game. And so you want to make sure that you're heading the right direction. I still feel like Clemson is. There was a funny moment, though, during the press availability with Dabo Swinney on Saturday night. Pete Iacobelli of the AP asked Dabo Swinney about his $115 million contract. We put this out on Twitter, at Clemson Sports. By the way, it's on our Instagram as well, at Clemson Sports. It's on our Facebook and our LinkedIn page. I think we put it out on all platforms. So take a minute, go check that out. And again, follow us in all those places. But this is the exchange, and quite a hilarious one, quite frankly, between Pete from AP and Dabo Swinney.
Our coach from Zoom.
Yeah, Dabo, this is Pete Iacobelli from the AP.
Hey, Pete.
Been a couple of days since you agreed to that new contract. That's got to be pretty gratifying that the university values you that way. And it seems like it's been 100 years since people joked about the coupon coach coming to Clemson way back when.
Coupon coach? Well, I hadn't heard that one. That must be your own saying there, Pete. Must be what you tweeted out. I don't know if they had Twitter in 08. I don't know if did they have Twitter in 08? I don't think so. Did they? I don't know. That must have been what you put out. I heard that. Coupon coach. Well.
Dabo Swinney, the coupon coach. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Be a part of this show anytime. And again, coming up, we'll have more from Dabo Swinney's availability yesterday during his teleconference, and also that availability that you just heard that is always available on our YouTube channel. Would encourage you to subscribe to that. tinyurl.com/Clemson Sports TV will get you there. But yeah, 35-12 was not spectacular, but this is a team that I think if you simply look at what they did a year ago versus what they've done this year, there is no mistaking the fact that they have been better out of the gates in all phases. In all phases than they were 1 year ago. I mean, they are better in every single phase of the game than they were last season. And it's early, but that is a positive. And yeah, you wanted to beat Furman 55-10 or 7, sure. I get it. I projected a 55-point day for Clemson. It did not happen. But they are 2-0, and they are not Notre Dame, they are not Nebraska, and they are not Texas A&M this morning. Or this afternoon. Why do I keep saying morning? I wish it was morning. I have my coffee right now. DJ Uiagalelei was 21 of 27 for 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Will Shipley had 10 carries for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Bo Collins led the way with the wide receivers, 4 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown. With a quick break, we'll come back. We'll hear more from Dabo Swinney following Clemson's 35-12 victory over the Furman Paladins right after this.